Okay, I have combined the last two episodes of Immigration Nation, episode 5 and 6. You know, currently, Looney is not here. He had some business that he had to attend to, but he'll be back. And I just wanted to go ahead and complete the series. So, talking about episode 5 was more off of asylum and how you gain asylum and come into this country. And then episode 6 discussed more of an entity that we had a part of ISIS, which is the HSI, Homeland Security Investigation. So that's what episode 6 discussed. So speaking on episode 5 and asylum, I want to just go ahead and kind of talk and bring us back to the beginning and just the beginning of America. And regardless if you believe what the stories were, we have pilgrims that were escaping being oppressed, discriminated, and prosecuted, and basically genocide based off of what they believed. And that's why they fled to America to be able to practice freely. And that's what basically America is formed off of. People coming here for asylum, new lives, escaping oppression. That's our foundation beyond slavery. I don't want to get too much into that, but that's our foundation. And then I want to go ahead. So that's what we formed our country on. And we know that many other people have come here for asylum. Same as these immigrants who are coming here. We have several individuals who have escaped Germany and Asian countries and have gained that. We have Italians here as well. And it's just quite funny how you have individuals who have privilege were able to benefit off of other individuals' struggle to be able to come here and profit. And what I mean by that is a lot of our ancestors, or a lot of your ancestors, are immigrants. And they came here illegally. But because they were able to come here and struggle and be able to reproduce and provide for you, you have now the opportunity based off of their struggle to be a citizen. But you're here saying these individuals are doing the wrong things when you basically made it the same way. Pilgrims escaped. They were not supposed to be here. They ran from their laws. They prosecuted. And when the British held them accountable, what did they set? What did they do? They fought. They fought against their government to remain their rights, to stay here in America. So it's quite funny that these individuals that come from this history, and a lot of people in America who are immigrants and whose family members have escaped oppression to build a foundation, say that this is not the country for certain individuals. I just found that quite funny. And that goes to episode 4, which is asylum. That if these individuals was once given asylum and the opportunity to come here and make a better life for themselves, why are now we deterring the same opportunities for other individuals? And that's what episode 5 talks on. That this whole administration is breaking down even certain programs within it that is supposed to work together. And with the asylum, we have completely closed our border. So no one can receive asylum now. And then those who have was originally promised that their family can also come over, and they're being denied that too. So now they're here, and they're here in the United States, and they're without their families. Prime example, we have a lot of asylum women who come from certain abusive and war and ravaged countries that come here for asylum, and they can't bring their children here. So now they're here in the United States and they're feeling guilty for being here and leaving their kids back there when they were promised asylum. And that's what we speak on. Like, we're breaking up families. Is that what we stand for? Is that's what our foundation is built upon? So I also would like to play back to why we have gotten here is what we have not discussed completely. How we have gotten here. We want to start off as far as the Bush administration with opening the borders, and we know exactly why. Y'all were comfortable with letting immigrants in to do the jobs that blacks would not do. We were underpaid, discriminated, and mistreated, and we no longer wanted to work for you. So what you did was you pandered to the immigrants. Come work in America. We have jobs. Blacks are lazy. Blacks don't want to work. Pondered to them. And they came over here. And what they did, they opened the doors for their loved ones. They said, hey, you can come here. America, we got work. We got jobs. We got money. We got this. We got that. Let's talk about how we got here. Because you had so much hatred towards blacks, you open up our gates for workers and didn't understand how they were infantry. And that's how we got here. But I would like to speak on episode 6. And we talk about the entity that is the HSI, Homeland Security Investigation. And this is very important because if you understand about how the America work and how the Constitution work, and no branch and no entity should have more power or more domain over the other, this is a branch under the ISIS that actually investigate criminals, those pedophiles that you say that are here illegally, and those ones that are trafficking drugs. That's the SHI, not ISIS. ISIS is its own entity, so they're running rogue. We do have a entity that does that investigation, that does deport our criminals, that are illegal criminals. So that's number one. And they actually do great investigation. They also have individuals that patrol our borders. And unfortunately, it is sad to say, but we have individuals that patrol our borders and that watch for illegals that cross over, and we just basically eliminate them right there in the spot and leave them in the desert. So we actually have a sector in our government that does these things. ISIS is not supporting the right things. They're basically taking the law into their own hands. And they're coming into the cities illegally. And they're deporting individuals who are not criminals, who contribute to our society. This is what you wanted. And what they are doing is wrong. And it is sad to say, as an African American, well, we did tell you so. But it is obvious that if this continues, it will always trickle down to us. And speaking of the Donlin, and amongst him running up into a church, and we have a lot of people saying, well, this is a church, you're not supposed to do this, and how could you do this? And I agree as a Christian, but I also agree that I should not hear my pastor preaching about ISIS and the removal of immigrants as a Christian. That's not what I believe. Well, you have to understand, we have false prophets within our community. And Jesus Christ never preached that. No type of that hatred. Me as an African American, I am made to forgive with all my discretions and everything that I have been through. And I still see that it's not right. So shall a preacher be up there in Jesus Christ's name spewing that river? I should not. And I do believe, as far as my faith, I know my God would not allow my enemy to run up in my church if there was nothing going on. And I just think that we do need to separate state from church, state from religion. It should not correlate. And I do, most people do not understand that. But no way in any God that I have researched as far as Islamic and as long as Christian and Catholic, do they preach this type of hate, this war, this separation, Buddhism between amongst people. That's a human sickness. And we have to understand that. So we have to separate that. And what he did, hey, he did what he felt he needed to do to go against what was wrong. He didn't run up in a regular church. He ran up in the church with a preacher who sat there and pushed hatred and forced ISIS to come into community and made sure that his congregation also believed in that as well, because as a preacher you have an influence amongst people. So he's using his pulpit for wrong. No. We may agree that how things are done, but are you serious? Are we looking at ISIS? So you're saying that him running up in the church protesting is wrong from us point blank shooting a person in the head? Come on now. We not justifying the two. I know y'all like to skip over a lot of things, but let's state the obvious. We're separating families. We're sitting there committing crimes. We're refusing individual the same opportunities that you or your grandparents that have received. And now recent reports of how they're taking advantage of immigrants, all the SAs. And this is right. And we sit back and say this is right. In what way? In what form?